The courthouse was cold, silent, and unforgiving, much like the man standing across from her. Elena sat at the far end of the bench, her hands folded tightly in her lap, her knuckles pale from the pressure. She had always been soft-spoken, the kind of woman who apologized even when she hadn't done anything wrong. Today, though, she wasn't apologizing. She wasn't even speaking. Across from her stood Marcus, her husband of 7 years. His suit was sharp, his shoes polished, and his expression colder than the marble floor beneath them. "You had your chance, Elena," he said quietly, leaning closer. "You just weren't strong enough." She swallowed. Strong enough. The words stung because they were the ones he had used for years. Not strong enough to manage the household without help. Not strong enough to handle his business dinners. Not strong enough to give him the social image he wanted. And, worst of all, not strong enough to give him a child. Elena looked down at her hands. The wedding ring still rested on her finger, though the divorce papers sat between them on the table like a blade waiting to fall. "I never wanted this," she whispered. Marcus sighed, as if she were a stubborn inconvenience. "You knew what I needed from this marriage." She did know. She had always known. But she also believed that love would be enough, that patience, kindness, and loyalty would fill whatever spaces were empty. Instead, those spaces grew wider until Marcus filled them with someone else, someone younger, louder, more glamorous, someone who knew how to laugh at his jokes and hold a wine glass the way his business partners' wives did. When Elena found out about the affair, she didn't scream. She didn't throw dishes or demand answers. She simply packed a small suitcase and waited for him to come home. But instead of an apology, he handed her divorce papers. And now they were here. "After today," Marcus said, adjusting his cufflinks, "you'll be taken care of. The settlement is generous. More than you deserve, honestly." Her chest tightened. Not because of the money. Because of the way he said it, like she was something he had outgrown. "I never married you for money," she said softly. Marcus shrugged. "Well, it's all you're leaving with." The courtroom doors opened, and people began filing in. Lawyers, clerks, other couples waiting for their own endings. Elena felt small among them, like a leaf caught in a storm. Her lawyer, a tired middle-aged woman with kind eyes, leaned closer. "We'll do our best," she whispered. "But his legal team is very powerful." Elena nodded. She expected nothing else. Marcus always surrounded himself with power. Still, a strange calm settled over her heart. She had nothing left to lose. The judge entered, and everyone stood. As Elena sat back down, she felt Marcus's eyes on her, confident, almost amused. He believed this would be quick and easy. For him, it probably would be. But for her, this wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the end of the only life she had known. And she had no idea what would come next. Elena hadn't always been quiet. As a child, she loved singing in the garden, chasing butterflies, and reading stories aloud to her mother. She had dreamed of becoming a teacher, of filling classrooms with laughter and chalk dust. But after her parents died in a car accident when she was 18, everything changed. She left school to work in a small bakery owned by a distant relative. Life became about survival, not dreams. That was where she met Marcus. He came in one rainy afternoon, his expensive coat soaked at the edges. He ordered coffee and a pastry, then sat at the window, staring at the rain like it had personally offended him. Elena brought his coffee and smiled. "You look like you could use something warm." He looked up, surprised by her kindness. "Thank you." That was how it started. Marcus was charming then. He brought her flowers, took her to places she had never seen, and spoke of a future where she would never have to worry about money again. "You deserve comfort," he told her. "You've struggled enough." For a girl who had lost everything, those words felt like a promise of safety. They married within a year. At first, it was wonderful. A beautiful house, elegant dinners, expensive dresses she didn't know how to wear. But slowly, Marcus began to change. "Don't talk so much at the table," he'd whisper. "Smile more. Stand straighter. Try not to embarrass me." Each correction seemed small, almost reasonable, but together they built a cage around her. She stopped singing. stopped laughing loudly, stopped dreaming. Then came the doctor's visits, the tests, the quiet conversations in sterile rooms. "I'm sorry," one doctor said gently. "It may be very difficult for you to conceive." Elena cried all the way home. Marcus didn't say anything. He just stared out the car window. After that, the distance between them grew like a wall made of ice. He worked later, traveled more, and eventually, he stopped pretending. "I need someone who can give me a family," he said one night, not even looking at her. Elena's heart broke, but she didn't argue, because she thought love meant sacrifice. She never imagined that sacrifice would mean losing everything. Back in the courtroom, the proceedings started. Marcus's lawyer stood first, a tall man with a confident voice and a stack of documents. "Your Honor," he said smoothly, "my client seeks a straightforward dissolution of the marriage. He has provided a generous settlement and wishes to move forward with his life." Elena's lawyer cleared her throat. "My client has dedicated 7 years to this marriage. She supported her husband, maintained their home, and—" Marcus's lawyer interrupted, "and contributed nothing financially. Let's be honest here." Elena felt her cheeks burn. The judge raised a hand. Let her finish. Her lawyer continued, though her voice trembled. "She deserves respect and fair treatment." Marcus leaned back, looking bored. Then something unexpected happened. The courtroom doors opened again, and a hush fell over the room. A man in a dark uniform entered, followed by a woman in an elegant suit. Their presence carried authority, quiet, undeniable authority. They approached the judge and handed over a sealed envelope. The judge's eyebrows lifted slightly as he read the contents. "What is this about?" Marcus's lawyer asked. The woman in the suit spoke calmly. "We represent a legal interest that has recently come to light regarding Mrs. Elena Carter." Elena blinked. Mrs. Carter. That was her name. Marcus frowned. "What interest?" The judge looked at Elena, his expression softer now. "Mrs. Carter, were you aware of your inheritance?" She shook her head. "Inheritance." The woman stepped forward. "Your mother came from a royal lineage that was believed to have ended. However, recent documentation proves you are the last surviving direct descendant." The room went silent. Marcus laughed. "This is ridiculous." But the judge didn't smile. "The documents appear legitimate," he said. "This changes the legal circumstances significantly." Elena felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. "Royal?" She whispered. "That's impossible." The woman smiled gently. "Your mother kept it hidden to protect you. But now, the Crown has taken an interest in your case." Marcus's confident expression cracked for the first time. The woman explained everything. Elena's mother had been born into a small but historically significant royal family that had lost its public status decades earlier. To escape political pressure and live a normal life, she had hidden her identity. Only recently, after a long legal investigation, had the truth surfaced. And because Elena was the last living heir, the Crown had stepped in to ensure her rights were protected. Marcus's face had turned pale. "This is absurd," he said. "She's been living off me for years." The uniformed man spoke firmly. "With respect, sir, she never needed your money." He handed the judge another document. The judge scanned it, then looked up. "According to this, Mrs. Carter possesses an estate valued at over $200 million. Gasps filled the courtroom. Elena's hands trembled. I don't understand." The woman's voice softened. "Your mother left everything in a protected trust. It was only to be revealed if your well-being was threatened." Tears filled Elena's eyes. All this time, she had believed she was powerless, that she had nothing. Marcus leaned forward, suddenly nervous. "Your Honor, perhaps we should reconsider the settlement." The judge's expression hardened. "You were quite confident a few minutes ago, Mr. Carter." Marcus swallowed. For the first time in years, Elena saw fear in his eyes. But instead of satisfaction, she felt something else, relief. Not because of the money, but because she finally understood something important. She had never been powerless. She had only believed she was. The hearing ended with a revised decision. Elena received full control of her inheritance, and an apology from the court for the treatment she had endured. Marcus left the courtroom quietly, his shoulders stiff, his pride shattered. He didn't say goodbye, but Elena didn't care. Outside, the air felt warmer than it had in years. Sunlight poured across the courthouse steps, and for the first time in a long while, she lifted her face to it. The woman from the Crown stood beside her. "You have many options now," she said. "Properties, investments, even a place in the Royal Advisory Council, if you wish." Elena shook her head gently. "I don't want power," she said. "I just want a peaceful life." The woman smiled. "Then you shall have one." Weeks later, Elena returned to the small town where she had once worked in the bakery. The shop was struggling. The owner was old now, tired and worried about closing. Elena walked in, the bell above the door chiming softly. "Can I help you?" The old man asked. She smiled. "I was hoping you'd help me." Within months, the bakery was thriving again. New ovens, fresh recipes, and laughter filling the air. Elena worked behind the counter, just like before. But this time, she stood a little straighter, spoke a little louder, sang while she kneaded dough. Not because she had money, but because she had found herself again. One afternoon, a young orphan girl wandered into the shop, her clothes worn, her eyes tired. Elena knelt beside her. "Are you hungry?" The girl nodded. Elena handed her a warm pastry and smiled. "Then you've come to the right place." Because sometimes, the greatest crowns weren't made of gold. Sometimes, they were made of kindness, courage, and the quiet strength to begin again.